Okay. Listen, let's jump into this thing. I want to dive into it, right? Y'all already know I don't have no fluff, man. I hate the back and forth. Let me see. Why do I seem like I'm blurry, right? I definitely don't want to be blurry for you guys, right? I definitely don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and make this adjustment real quick. Real quick. I'm gonna keep you guys down there on live. I'm gonna keep you guys live for now. As we go through this whole thing, man, I probably until my phone dies, right? Until the battery dies. It looks like right there we're super crispy, right? We're crispy. Y'all can see me good. Hold on. Let's see. I need it a little better. I need it a little better. Little better. There we go. Can I back up right here? Yeah, I'm good right here. All right, listen, man, let's jump into this thing. Tonight, with life after high school, you already know, man, everything that I talk about is always 100% directly, right? 100% directly related to sales. Make sure every mic is on. I almost missed one, right? Everything that I talk about is always directly related to sales. You hear me all the time, right? Teaching sales strategies and everything from getting the customer to closing the customer. But listen to me, the most important thing, the most important sale that you're ever going to make is you closing you, right? You closing you. So tonight, I want to spend some time talking to parents because you're the one that has the students that have the issues, right? I need you to put the information in front of your student. You're going to hear something and you're going to say, wow, I say that same thing. My student don't need this. Listen, let's be honest. It's not always about the message, right? It's about the messenger. And as parents, we tend to talk to students, right? Talk to our kids from a form like we care, but it always comes off as we're being controlling, or it always comes off as a lecture, right? So the way that they're taking it isn't the way that we're really delivering it. Or we wait till the frustration builds up and then we have the conversations, and that creates a whole nother problem, right? So we got to make sure that when we're talking to students, to our kids, that we're not just looking to be controlling, we're looking to give the advice that is needed so that they can win. All right. So I want to talk about the 4C's tonight. The 4C's, what are they? Commitment, courage, capability, and confidence. All right. This is what I believe. This is what I truly believe. When you look at number one, commitment, we become committed to things, right? And I want you to think as a parent, I want you to think when you was young, when you was in high school, and you would become committed to something until that commitment got hard, right? And then the minute the commitment got hard, you would get away from it and you would go find something else that's easy in the beginning and you will become committed to that. Well, this is what our students do. And believe it or not, your kids are watching you do the same thing. They're watching you do something. The minute it gets hard, you back up, you get frustrated, you're very verbal about it. They hear it and they're like, man, I don't want to go down that road. So now they just don't want to try anything. So you got to understand that your habits are going over to your kids, right? Your habits are going over to your kids. So I want you to just think, and don't take my word for it. Don't take my word for it. I want you to look at yourself and think about when you was in school and what was you going through? What was the frustrations? What was the aggravations, right? What was the pain points when you graduated, when you walked across the stage? Yes, you was happy you graduated. You got some money and some cards. Like, okay, cool. You got some gifts. You graduated. But then you woke up that next day. Everybody's congratulations. How you feel? That next day, the next day, the next day. And then people start saying, hey, what's your plans? What are you going to do with your life? At that point, it's frustrating, right? It's too hard for our kids to really think about that. It becomes like, it seems like everything, the world is crashing down on them. So we want to avoid that. So how do we do that? We make sure, right? Life after high school is about making sure when your student leaves high school, they are prepared mentally, emotionally, they are prepared. They have a skill set. That's why I teach life after high school. I had to take myself, right? Listen, I didn't even tell you, like I'm Pierre, right? Pierre Evans. When I dropped out of high school in the 11th grade, I was reading on the 7th, 8th grade reading level. If it wasn't for spell check today, I wouldn't send you a text message. All right. When I tell you it was bad, it was bad. When I tell you that I would get kicked out of class so I didn't have to read out loud in front of people, yep, I did it. And a lot of parents went through a lot of humiliation in school, but you don't point it out to your children, right? Because you want to seem like you're that genius. Well, my son said to me one day, he didn't do his homework, and he was like, I said, yo, boy, why get a call from your teacher? You ain't get your homework done. And he looked up. I never forget it. My man was laying on the floor playing his video game, right? And he looked up and he was like, Dad, like you didn't even finish high school. Like, Dad, you never even did homework. Dad, you never did a book report, right? Like, my man is telling me this, and I was hot. I was hot. Like, I wanted to take my man's head off, right? I ain't gonna lie to you. But at the end of the day, I didn't. I looked at him and I shook my head. I nodded my head and I said, "Man, you're right. Okay." And went and got my car. I went to Barnes and Noble. I got that thick GED book, and I opened that book up, man, and I studied for 2 weeks straight. I scheduled the test. I went and passed every one of the tests. Some of them I passed with like 2 points, right? Like, I don't remember which one, but I know I only passed it with 2 points. But I did that. I passed all of them: the writing, the math, the science. I passed all of them, right? And then I came home, and I was looking online because you got to wait for the update, right? So I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking. And when they all came through and I got it, I didn't say nothing to my son. I was just like, easy. I was walking different though, right? I was walking different. And as soon as it came in the mail, I took that thing, man. I was like, "Yo, son, here, open that up, man." He was like, "You got your name on?" I said, "Yeah, don't worry about that. That's for you to open that up." And my man opened it up. And he was like, "What's this?" And he started looking at it. I said, "Yeah, I got my GED now. I went ahead and I studied and I got everything. Don't you ever tell me that, boy. Go get that work done." And then I went and wrote a book, and I became I became a published author, right? Became a published author. Not only a published author, but I had Eric Thomas publish the book and coach me through the book, right? And then I came and I dropped the book on my son, like, "Bow, I did that, boy. I did that." See what I mean? I had to show him. It wasn't about the words. It was about showing him. He had to, oh, that's why you was up late at night. That's why you was working. And you got up and still went to work. You see what I'm saying? It's not about you just telling them and giving the lecture. It's about letting them see it. All right. So when we're talking about the 4 C's, when you're telling your kids, listen, you got to be committed. You got to be committed. Number 1 C is commitment, right? You got to be committed. But when they see you giving up on yourself over and over and over and over and over again, how do you feel like they're going to be committed? You see what I mean? Like, think about it. Think about it. You put them on punishment when they don't keep their word. You put them on punishment when they don't finish their assignments. You put them on punishment when they don't do what you tell them to do. But when you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, do you get on punishment? Nope. So what you're telling them, right? You're showing them that you only have to be committed when you have a certain level of authority. When your authority isn't high enough, right? Because if your authority is high enough under the roof that you're under, then it really doesn't matter, right? Really doesn't matter. I don't have to do it. I don't have to have that because I'm the parent. No, they're watching the action, right? So I want you to stay focused on that. Commitment creates momentum. Commitment creates momentum. How many times have you been committed to something and you kept doing it, and then it got hard, but you kept doing it, and you finally started to see some daylight, and then you just kept pushing, and that momentum kicked in. That's what commitment does, right? So your kid has to see you staying committed, even when it hurts, even when you don't feel like it, because they're watching you. And believe it or not, they want you to be their superhero, but you just not doing the work to be the superhero. You just there. You're not doing the work to be the superhero, right? So you have to go and be that superhero that they want. You got to be committed to that. And when you are, they will become more committed to listen to what you're saying. But when they don't like your results, would you follow someone if you didn't like their results? No. Nope. All right. Let's go to that second C. We're talking about courage. Courage helps you to break through your comfort zones. That's what courage does. When you got the courage to stand by the commitment, your comfort zones now disappear. The comfort zone can't live. A comfort zone, right? When you have courage, when you're committed to something and you have courage, a comfort zone cannot survive in that environment. That environment does not breed comfort. That environment breeds change. That environment breeds disruption. So they got to be able to see you go through these changes and adapt to the changes, and not say, "Man, I hate this when this happens, and I got to do this. I can't stand because then now they taking that behavior, right? Let me tell you, I sat there today and I was telling my wife. I had a conversation, and I'm like, "Yo, I noticed something today. There's a behavior I had, and I figured out where I got it from." Right? And she's like, "What do you mean?" So I told her. She's like, "Wow, I never thought about that." And then that made me think about a conversation I had with a friend of mine years ago. And he said to me, "Yo, I'm very careful who I let my kids be around because of the conversations." I'm like, whoa, okay. Thought about it. Do you know that there's things you do that are training your kids to be defiant to you? Do you know there's things you do that's training your kids to not follow through with what they say they want? Do you know there's things you do that they're following that they don't even know they're following? But you're the roadmap. You're the roadmap. So if you're the roadmap and you know that you're leading people that don't even know you're leading them like that, and you're not paying attention to it, don't it make sense for you to master the 4C's too? Commitment, courage, capability, so you can build the confidence that's needed. When your kids see that, they're like, oh, I want to be that. I want that. That's why life after high school is here, right? That's what life after high school is. It's making sure that as your child goes through high school, they're learning the 4C's. Just imagine if every year number one, all they focus on is their commitment. Year number two, they master courage. Year number three, they fully understand all their capabilities. By the time they get in year number four, they're just confidence driven. Boom, boom, boom. Yo, how much? What would they be able to accomplish? What would they be able to accomplish? Imagine if you went through year one, focus on commitment. Year two, focus on your courage. Year three, focus on your capabilities. And year four, you're just running through confident. By the time you walk out them school doors, yo, you feel like you're on top of the world. You feel like you're on top of the world. You got to ask yourself, right? You don't have to do nothing, but I'm just saying, ask yourself, what would it have done for you? What would it have done for you? So now your children should be able to get this now, right? Let's talk about capabilities, right? Capabilities leads to confidence. I hear people all the time tell people, hey, you need more confidence, build your confidence up, become more confident in what you do, become more confident in what you say. Yo, you never have to focus on confidence. You never have to think about confidence. Sounds crazy, huh? But it's not. Why do you not have to think about confidence? Because when you find something to commit to, right? When you find something to commit to, and then you develop the courage to stand by that commitment until it begins to work. And now you become fully committed because you personally see it. And then while you're working on that inside of your capabilities, right? Your capabilities, think about this. When you start a job, right? When you start a job, and this is why parents, as parents, we got to think about these things. Because when we go work for somebody, it's like we're a student. You can say whatever you want. You can feel like you're grown. You're not that grown. Somebody else writes your check, right? If you feel like you're that grown, go write your own check. But other than that, you're a student in that environment. So when they give you a new task, how do you feel? Pissed, upset, frustrated, right? And then because you have that task, what do? You go learn it. You go learn it every day. You study everything you can about it. Why? Because number one, you're on a 90-day probationary period. And if you screw up in that 90 days and you don't learn it, you're gone, right? You know that. You know that even after your 90-day period, you only got so many times to be written up for whatever reasons. So you learn it, right? You force yourself to learn this. Now that you learn it, you start acting different. Before you learned the job, you was never late. You showed up early, like 15, 20 minutes early every day. Why? You're trying to learn the job inside of that 90-day probationary period. That's why I always talk about the 90-day reboot, right? Because it's a 90-day job probationary period. You don't show up late. You show up early. When it's lunchtime, you really don't even take your lunch and go to a cafeteria unless you have to. You ain't going out for lunch. You're packing the lunch. You're sitting at your desk. You're bringing study materials and you're studying as you're eating, right? This is what it looks like in your 90-day probationary period. As soon as it's up, what do? You fall back. You're comfortable. You're in that comfort zone. That comfort zone destroys your confidence because you get so used to living in it. When you get outside of that comfort zone, which is the fear zone, you're afraid to move. You're afraid to move, right? So you got to put yourself in the position and say, wow, my student feels the same way. They're doing something new right now. So they're stressed, like they're getting stressed because they're looking at everything and what they're doing new and only identifying what they can't do, what they don't know how to do. They're not looking at, man, what can I do in this? Right? So when you start to look at something and you see your capabilities and you're like, I could do this, but I struggle with this, and this. Great. Now, when people be like, yo, ask for help. Do you understand that a student don't know what they need help with? They don't understand. It's like, yo, go ask for help. Ask for help for what? So now I got to ask for help. You're asking me questions. I don't even know what the reason is. I don't even know how to explain it, to ask for the help. So it creates all types of other frustrations. And now I might as well disconnect, right? That's how it works. But when you're looking at the 4C's and you're like, listen, My job isn't to know everything. I know that. I told you. If it wasn't for spell check, I wouldn't send you a text message. My spelling's messed up. You know how many other people I realize their spelling messed up too? Because when they be writing, I could tell because they do the stuff I used to do before I had the confidence to be like, yo, how you spell that? They look around on the paper to try to see if they can find that word somewhere else. Or when they're writing, what they'll do is they'll speed up, make it a little sloppy right there. You see what I'm saying? So you can't really read it. Like, come on, man. We got to get to the point where we're not afraid. We're not afraid of this. We're not afraid to ask for help. But before we're only afraid to ask for help because we don't know what we need help in. So when you look at it and you say, okay, these are my capabilities, I can do this. And then I could do this. I'm not too sure about this. And it stresses you out a little bit. It puts you to the edge, right? You stay there. Don't back up and get away from the edge into the comfort zone. Stay on the edge. Why? Because when you're on the edge, that's when you're in the growth zone. You know what I'm saying? You're in that growth space. Yo, this is why life after high school is extremely important. I don't just talk about life after high school because I ain't got nothing else to talk about. I don't just like run this because I ain't got nothing else to do. I do it because it's so phenomenal and it's so important for students to have this. Okay. So when they know their capabilities, when students know their capabilities and they operate within their capabilities, right on the edge of that stress, right on the edge, when they're right there, right there, what happens is now they're looking at these other things like, man, okay, I need help doing that. And now when they put themselves in rooms, they're able to say, hey, I've been doing this. I'm doing this and I'm figuring this out right here, but it's giving me a problem, but I'm going to get it. But this over here, I don't know what to do with it. I need help. Oh, you know what? I can help you with that. Oh, you know what? I know somebody who can help you with that. See, when you identify where your child needs help, it's easy to find it. But when you don't know what type of help they need, it's hard to find it, right? And if you're not paying attention and focusing on really learning these 4C's, what's going to happen is by the time you recognize it, it's already creating problems. When I ended up in the Levi's, right? When I ended up in jeans that no longer printed the size on the back, right? Because when they get a certain size, right? I think it's, what was it, 52? Anything over a 52, anything over a 52 in your Levi's, right? It doesn't there's no sign, there's no number back there anymore. It's blank. I guess they don't want to embarrass you, but if there's no number, they're like, that's embarrassing too. The number's too big to fit on the patch. I don't know, whatever, right? But think about this. Think about this. If if no one knows the problem, you don't know the capabilities, how do you fix it? You can't. All right. So I don't want y'all to tell your kids anymore, yo, get some confidence. Don't do that. Find something that they're really interested in, and then connect it to the 4C's. Show them how to do it. Get involved with it. Let them do it with you, and then they become committed. And then when it gets difficult, don't let them walk away from it, but don't make it too hard. Keep it going. Make them have some courage to stand by it so they can see the breakthrough. Once they see the breakthrough, it's like, oh, I really did that. Right now, they start to really understand, like, hey, I'm capable of that. I couldn't do that part, but I could do that part. Now they start to understand capabilities. From there, confidence will automatically grow. You won't be able to shut them up about what it is that they want to do. You see what I mean? So I want y'all to look at it like that. It's phenomenal when you do. Okay. It's phenomenal when you do. All right. I promise you. I promise you it is phenomenal when you do that. All right. So listen, share the 4C's, right? Share this video. Share this video with parents, man, who are talking to you about certain struggles their kids are having, that the 4C's would really help. Share the video. I'll never ask people like, yo, share the video, right? Share it. Do this. Nah, but go ahead and share it. All right. We're going to jump on here, man, and we are going to be here on a regular basis, making sure that y'all get the information you need for your students in this life after high school journey. Okay. And listen, man, every Sunday we are live and we are talking directly to the students every Sunday. We're going to do a whole lot more for parents, right? We're just checking some things out, but every Sunday we are here for students, life after high school. I believe we're on like what episode, 10, 11 right now, right? So episode 10 or 11, I'll put them all up. I get them all up at one point, but right now I'm gonna be on YouTube with it. We will be live. Y'all can catch us every Sunday, 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. All right. I look forward to seeing y'all this Sunday. You bring your kids, man. Get your kids on the scroll. Okay. Y'all have a good one.